Happy Monday. Welcome to episode 20 of the Sneak Preview, our podcast that follows the current film calendar. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And I'm Caleb J.
And we got a big fat show for you today. Of course, our primary focus is on Spiral, the latest Saw film, but we will also be discussing 4 other movies that came out this past weekend: Oxygen, The Woman in the Window, Profile, and Those Who Wish Me Dead. But before we get into that, let's see what happened last week in film.
Last week in film.
First up, trailers. The trailer for The Protégé was released. Stars Maggie Q, Michael Keaton, and Samuel L. Jackson, assassin thriller from Martin Campbell, set for August 20th. What do you think of The Protégé?
Looks interesting. Worried that it's going to be just a John Wick clone, which has been kind of like anything that becomes famous is usually what happens. But I like the cast attached, and it did look like there's going to be some really cool action scenes, and it might be a lot of fun. So I'll go in with an open mind, but I am worried it might be a John Wick clone.
I'm just happy it's not a Luc Besson movie because it's got a vibe, but all of his films are, tough as nails chick versus society or some shit. But this looks interesting. It is from the producers of John Wick, so there is in danger of it being a clone. But then again, Nobody was also from the producers of John Wick, and that turned out to be a pretty decent, kind of its own thing.
Yeah,
this could be, a lot of fans want them to establish like a John Wick cinematic universe with that Nobody and this film, which would be sweet. But I'm not holding my breath. I'll see it.
No, I'll check it out. It looks like the action that we know from these guys is going to be there.
Yeah,
I like the catch stash, Michael Keaton, Samuel Jackson, Maggie, like all of them. So I'll check it out.
Yeah, me too. Samuel L. Jackson, that dude is like literally every 4th movie released, he's in.
Dude, that when I saw Spiral, there was at least like 3 or 4 movies advertised with him in it. And actually, I think it was this and another Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Nothing but praise. It's just I find it funny that he will take anything.
He doesn't care as long as he can be in movies.
As long as he can be in movies, and I think most of the time in like sweatpants, he's cool. Next up, Stillwater, a crime drama starring Matt Damon and Abigail Breslin, set for July 30th. This looks interesting. Did you get a chance to see this trailer?
I did. It does look interesting. It looks like something a little different, kind of, from Matt Damon. As far as like the type of action we're used to him, because we're so used to the, Jason Bourne Matt Damon, and not like whatever this like redneck version of him is. But
is it just me, or can he only do Boston and like Deep South? Like, that's like the only accents he can do. I feel like lately, he had that brief cameo in Deadpool 2 where he played that redneck. He was Carroll Shelby in Ford v Ferrari, and now he's Stillwater as a redneck dude. So I don't know. It's just
it's like when Jeff Bridges, after doing True Grit, just kept doing that voice for some reason.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I don't know. I mean, the trailer seemed kind of cheap. Like the font, it like looked like a PowerPoint. So I don't know about that. But Tom McCarthy is an Oscar-winning filmmaker. He won for Spotlight. So here we are. I'll give it a shot. And of course, we will talk about it on this show, like we talk about literally everything else that comes out.
Yeah,
it's all about the length of the conversation. That's the difference here. Next, the Forever Purge, the 5th entry in the Purge franchise, set for July 2nd. These always come out 4th of July weekend. I have not seen any Purge films, so I don't have a dog in this race. When we do this on the show, I will marathon those so I have context. But as it stands, are you a fan of the Purge franchise?
It's like a love-hate relationship with the Purge franchise. To me, like in a nutshell, running through all the films, the first one was wasted potential because it just takes place in a fucking house the whole time. 2 and 3, I liked better because it actually went out into the ward like I wanted it to be. And And then the fourth one wasn't bad, but it went to being a prequel about how the Purge started and was really, and these have always been like political films as well. So it's always like, that's kind of what the hate is, because like they can be fun, but sometimes they lean heavy into the politics, which can get annoying. So the fourth one was all right. Like I said, it did the prequel move, which is never really a good sign for me when it comes to a scary movie franchise. This one doesn't look bad. They got surprisingly like good cast attached. Some people I think Josh Lucas popped up, and I was like, oh, okay. It looks entertaining enough. It looks like they're going to go in your face with the violence. It's being billed as the final installment, but if horror's taught me anything, it's never final.
Yeah, has that ever been true? I don't think so.
No,
everything comes back.
I'll check it out, but I mean, this is not like in my ranking of franchises, not in my top.
Yeah, I haven't really, cared. Just nothing's really drawn me to this franchise. 5 films deep, and I haven't really even wanted to check these out. I'm only doing it out of obligation to the show.
Yeah, dude, honestly, the only reason I even got into the whole thing was because I saw the first one, turned off by it, because I was like, way to squander your potential. Apparently made enough money to warrant a sequel, which at that point I was like, no, you fucked me over once, I'm not doing it again. Some buddies wanted to see the third movie when it was coming out. I was like, well, I haven't seen the second one. So we rented the second one, which I ended up actually liking, because again, it went out into the wars like I wanted. Then we saw the third one. So I ended up getting into it a little bit later after seeing the first movie.
Right on. Isn't there a show too?
Yeah, and I watched both seasons. I'm a goddamn completionist.
The completionist streak extends into TV.
Yes.
Wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So have you watched like Freddy's Nightmares and things like that?
I have seen episodes of Freddy's Nightmares that I can get my hands on, and same with Friday the 13th, the series, because God bless, they think of any other name for it.
Well, Forever Purge. We'll do it on the show, of course, and we'll see what happens. The second trailer for The Green Knight dropped, set for July 30th, and this looks really interesting. I'm excited for this. I love the King Arthur story, and I still think it's never been done correctly. And I know this isn't going to be that. This is more of a side story, but it's kind of establishing a new universe with King Arthur involved, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm really excited. I was excited like last year when I saw the trailer, the one trailer that we got. I like the story they're telling. I like A24. I like the visuals in this movie. Like the use of color in the trailers is stunning. The fact that A24 is basically making an independent fantasy epic, is really neat. So I'm very interested in this, and I want to see what they do with it, because it looks like it's going to be that like a dark fantasy, like it's going to straddle that line of horror and some of the imagery they put in the trailer.
And recently I've become a pretty big fan of Dev Patel. I watched Slumdog Millionaire and Lion and The Personal History of David Copperfield, and I think this kid's got real talent, and I'm excited. Say kid, he's probably in his 30s, but anyway, I'm excited to see him play a Knight of the Round Table, and I think this is going to be neat. Yeah, and it's another movie with like a pretty stacked cast. If you look at the cast list, it's a lot of good names attached to this one. Oh yeah. I'm glad this is finally coming out. I know this is one that got pulled from the schedule because of COVID and had trouble finding a release date after COVID, and I'm glad it's finally got one. So July 30th. Yeah. July 30th. Hopefully, and actually, you know what? Thinking of all these trailers, I really hope we get something for Antlers soon, because I was dying to see that last year, and I haven't heard shit since they got pulled. I remember Antlers. Yeah, I haven't thought about that one in a while. Yeah, that's one I was dying to see. Here's hoping. I feel like it'll get something. Yeah, hopefully. It was a Del Toro produced movie, since he takes on like 20 projects at once and can't. Yeah, even after an Oscar win and a culturally significant film, again, dude still can't get shit greenlit. Like, I don't know what it is. What does this guy have to do? I
I don't think it's that. It's that he attaches himself to so many things. Like if you ever get on when I got on Blade Disgusting, right? There'll be a week where it's like, hey, Del Toro's going to do this. Del Toro's attached to this. Check out this new. It's like, I think it's more of a matter of like he says yes to too many things and doesn't know how to be like, I can't do this one.
I think a lot of times it's just, throwing his name on there as a producer and just, bringing home the green, but also, adding it to his kind of catalog of weird. And Antlers definitely has that vibe. I think it's about a Wendigo or some shit.
It's supposed to be like a creature feature, which that's what got me into it. Like Del Toro produced creature feature, count me in.
Well, like we were just talking about how Saint Maud finally got a Hulu release. So we'll see Antlers. I guarantee you this year we'll see Antlers.
Yeah, hopefully. I was hoping. I think so far the only film that's been pulled that I haven't actually heard anything about. Everything else I've been hearing dates again. I know Halloween Kills looks like they're ramping up the marketing for it. They just released images off of I think Entertainment Weekly or some magazine.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a full trailer any day now.
Yeah, I fucking can't wait.
Finally, the long-awaited trailer for Venom: Let There Be Carnage, set for September 24th, but we'll see if that moves. Hopefully it doesn't. I feel like it's not going to. We're getting more set in stone now.
Yeah, I think also with like, the whole CDC putting out what they put out, I think we're going to see a lot more stuff stay set in stone. We're clearly, based off what they put out, based off what our president put out, we're clearly getting towards the end of this pandemic, so things can start staying set in stone. I'm actually really pumped for this. I like Andy Serkis with thought of him directing, because if anyone's going to be able to pull off the CG in this movie, it will be Andy Serkis. And hopefully now that they've had time, they can focus on everything else to make the movie good, instead of like the first one, which I felt like was really like Tom Hardy holding everything else together. And I'm hoping that's not the case this time.
Well, and Andy Serkis, as we've seen in his career, is really good at showcasing like duality and characters that are at war with themselves. And Venom is kind of the definition of that character. So I'm excited to see that. The trailer looks fairly comedic with a Venom who's, happy to be here and excited to have a life on Earth. And
Can I eat her? You're not eating Mrs. Chang.
More than anything, I am so fucking stoked to finally see Carnage.
Yeah. Oh, can we talk about them fixing the fucking atrocious wig? Thank God. I hated that wig so much.
I'm glad they did that. He looked like Sideshow Bob. And now he looks like a competent serial killer. Woody Harrelson is a great actor. Surprising choice for Carnage, not what I would have gone with. I always thought Jim Carrey would have been the go-to.
Well, he was the fan favorite for years.
Who, Woody?
Jim Carrey.
Oh, Jim Carrey.
He was like a fan favorite pick for years. I think it's just a matter of they took so long to make it.
Yeah. Like manic 90s Jim Carrey would have been perfect for psychotic Cletus Cassidy. But, Woody Harrelson, I'm excited to give him a shot here.
I'll give him I think he'll pull it off. I'll give him a shot.
Carnage has always been one of my favorite comic book villains. He's, psychotic, so crazy that Venom had to make a truce with Spider-Man just to take this fucker down. Fantastic. I doubt that's going to happen here, but I'll take what I can get. I don't know. Naomi Harris is playing Shriek, so he'll probably end up teaming up with Shriek.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, look, if they pull Carnage off and I get more of what the Venom and Eddie Brock relationship, which was surprisingly one of the best things about the first movie, I'll take it.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be good.
Yeah, that trailer sold me. I'm ready for Venom Let There Be Carnage, as we're calling it.
I hope we get an R rating, although I'm not holding my breath.
I'm not. Yeah, I put all my hope in the first movie on that, and then they just destroyed me.
But Carnage is a serial killer with superpowers. He rips people apart. Like, I want to see that.
Look, Venom eats people, and we still got a PG-13 Venom.
Yeah, but we've got proof that R-rated superhero movies are profitable. Look at Joker. Look at Deadpool. Like, we don't need more,
Logan.
Yeah, there's no more need to prove yourself anymore. Just do this, do it right.
I know Suicide Squad got the R rating. Did you hear that?
I did, thank God.
For graphic nudity. I really need to like reference that because I wasn't expecting to see that even for a superhero film. I was like, nudity.
It's John Cena. It's 100% John Cena.
Going to see John Cena in all his glory.
Yep, you're gonna see his Peacemaker. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a good movie.
Not the one I was hoping. I think we all know who we're hoping to see. He's in a little movie called Wolf of Wall Street, but
Yeah. And if you want to see it, just watch that.
I will watch that actually. Yeah.
Moving on, Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn, and Edward Norton have all joined Daniel Craig in the growing cast of Knives Out 2. Very excited about this. I'm glad that Ryan Johnson's sticking with what does work and pursuing a trilogy with this. And the deal with Netflix that was like 40 million, or like I think it was $40 million.
450.
That's significantly more.
Yeah, I was like, it was like 450 off their invisible money machine.
I'm still. Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Like, where does it can't just be subscribers. Like, where does the Netflix money? How do you judge a success?
I'm starting to get like almost more scared of Netflix than Disney, because Disney, I know where that money is coming from.
Do you? Do you really know where that money's coming from? I don't think we do.
Avengers Endgame was the #1 highest grossing film of all time until they cheated it with Titanic. So yes. Well, not Titanic, Avatar. So yes, I do. They're making billions at the box office.
That's the money that we know about. But you don't become the king of entertainment without a lot of skeletons in your closet. I think
there's also the theme parks and all the other shit they do that I know they get their money from. Netflix is literally just streaming. That's what scares me. Like, where are they getting 450 million to buy the sequels to Knives Out?
I want to say merchandise, but there's no show that they have that's merchandisable. Like I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. I think that's some secret shit that only Wall Street knows.
Apparently, like, don't get me wrong. I love Knives Out. I'm with you. Ryan Johnson, keep doing fucking original shit. Because I love Knives Out, and the cast he's pulling off for this looks like it's gonna be just as great of a cast as the first one. But yeah, where is Netflix getting this fucking money?
What are their Stranger Things is their biggest hit, right?
As of now, yeah. I think Witcher is slowly starting to get there for them. But right now, yeah, Stranger Things is their flagship show because House of Cards got disgraced.
It did. Yes, it did. Yeah, that was a rough season to close out on. I wanted to finish that up, and that was tough to trundle through.
Yeah.
Anyway, good luck, Netflix, with your giant movie deal. I hope it works out for you. Or, if it doesn't, we'll never fucking know, will we?
Yeah, they don't like to release their numbers. That's another thing. They just like, so what? How many people watched on opening weekend? We don't want to say. We don't like to release that. I'm like, how is that legal? Like, cable TV has to release the numbers, so then they can decide what gets renewed or not. Netflix is like, nope, it's only for us.
I think that's the the weird thing. Like, is Netflix TV? Is it a film company? Like, what is it?
I don't know.
How can it score Oscar nominations and Emmy nominations?
But then, their films don't get released in theaters.
Some of them do briefly, so they can satisfy that.
I'll say briefly though, and it's just to satisfy award season.
Yeah.
Besides that, is
Army of the Dead is getting a theater release.
Oh yeah, that's true. We all know Zack Snyder's not entering academies anytime soon.
Save it.
Yep, I will hold on to that fucking Justice League. Should I need to unload?
Oh boy. Speaking of Netflix, Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill are returning for a sequel to Enola Holmes, which I did not watch.
I was gone. I have not seen it.
I heard it was good. I'm hesitant. I don't know. I'll probably watch it eventually, but there's gonna be another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish we had more for you there, but I didn't see the movie and he hasn't watched it yet. So there you go.
In my defense, I was on deployment when it came out. So
In my defense, this podcast did not yet exist and I was under no obligation to see everything last year. Boyd Holbrook has joined the cast of Indiana Jones 5, which is shaping up to have an insanely good cast. And I'm waiting for a title drop. I want to know what this is called.
same. I'm actually really curious on this movie because, yeah, I'm one of the cast. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen and Thomas Kretschmann in a movie together. That's awesome. Boyd Holbrook, who I did like in Logan. I don't know how much of him to blame for Predator because that's just a fucking weird movie to talk about. But I liked him in Logan. But the other thing that interests me with this movie is that Spielberg stepped away from it because of disagreements on the script. So, like, I want to know what the fuck happened. Like, did he have a good idea on the studio next to it? Or was studio like, that's a stupid fucking idea, buddy? Like, who told who what was a stupid idea here that caused him to leave?
Well, how is George Lucas involved at any level?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's not Aliens. Because that was the problem last time. Nobody told George to shut the fuck up. This time, I mean, this is Steven Spielberg, you know, he's Hollywood royalty. Like, his ideas come first on the table. I don't know.
I know there was debate about if they were even going to bring. It could have been the studio causing issues because I don't think the studios are too keen on Harrison Ford coming back because he can be a cranky old man nowadays on set, and I think they weren't too keen on that.
Well, remember also the studio now is Disney. Like, they Indiana Jones now.
And if there is one studio that does have no issue telling him no, it's them.
That's true. And also, you know, Spielberg wanted to make West Side Story for some reason. Like, that's his committed project right now. So there might have been some, you know, Indiana Jones might have been an afterthought that he just didn't want to deal with, but still wanted to rake in the money. And James Mangold's a great choice because, you know, we've seen him handle, you know, iconic character over the hill before with Logan. And
when they said it was him doing it instead, I was like, that is a fucking amazing backup. Like, the guy who did Logan and Ford F. Ferrari, like, yeah, I am down with that.
This could work. I wonder if it is going to be a passing of the torch movie and is maybe Boyd Holbrook is the next Indy.
I would be okay with that. Just in the sense that, like, obviously Ford can't do this forever. And honestly, one of my issues with the last movie, besides it being aliens, is that Ford he looks it. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but he looks old, and you could tell it's getting hard for him to pull off these stunts. And it can kind of show sometimes. So it's like, you can't, how much mileage you're going to get out of him.
The nearly 80-year-old man looks like a nearly 80-year-old man. That's not being rude. That's just facts.
Yeah. So it's like, admittedly, when they first announced me, I was like, are we really doing this? Like, no offense. I'm actually okay if you guys just want to leave this franchise alone. But if it's like a passing of the torch type thing, all right.
So are they just going to ignore his kid with Marion, or is somebody else playing Mutt now, or how's this working?
Probably ignore if we know Hollywood well enough.
I would make this kid Willie Scott's kid out of wedlock. Or, you know, just bring in grown-up Short Round, his real goddamn son. Why have they not done that? For God's sake.
No.
The pieces are there. You don't need to make up new shit. You've got it all right there.
Because the franchise should have ended after the third movie, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, we got to rectify a film that never should have existed in the first place.
But a film that will hopefully justify its existence.
The bar has not been set very high for an indie sequel at this point. But also, this is Indiana Jones, and as much as I don't need the movie, I want it to be good.
No, if this is supposed to be his final one, like Ford's final movie, I want it to be good. Just like, obviously, I want this upcoming James Bond film to be good because it's supposed to be Craig's last one. If there any time it's a final movie with an actor, I want it to be good because it's like, no, give me a bang when you go out. I don't want to whimper. I do not want to fucking whimper when you go out.
I'd be down. I think it would be neat if, I mean, I'm assuming Boyd Holbrook is the torch passer. I don't know, the new guy.
It would make sense because he's like the youngest one they've cast, I think.
Yeah, and he's an up and coming action star with a lot of potential mileage.
Sure,
I think
harder, but
yeah, I mean, it's not a great track record, but then again, well, no, prior to Indy, Harrison Ford had a pretty goddamn great track record. Apocalypse Now and Star Wars, yeah. Never mind. But I think it'd be neat if they did like a Last Crusade situation where now Harrison Ford is the, old professor who's in over his head, and this new guy is, maybe a student of his who Indy kind of has some respect for or something. It doesn't have to be his son. It could just be, kind of a spiritual son.
Oh, that would be cool. You know what would be really cool? If they could convince Sean Connery to come out of retirement.
He's dead. Sean Connery's dead.
God, the deployment. That's right. I forgot. Wow. That happened on my deployment. I remember that was a big deal.
Yeah, that's not happening.
God. Sorry, I did not get a lot of sleep over this weekend. I'm fucked mentally right now.
We've all been there.
If they could get Sean Connery to come back to life.
If they could somehow, yeah. I mean, he came back in Highlander 2. Anything's possible.
Don't you bring up Highlander 2.
I can't believe there were sequels because I thought there could be only one. Anyway.
Only the first one counts.
Aren't there like 9 of those and like 2 TV shows?
Yeah, unfortunately.
God. Anyway, there's still plenty of I think John Rhys Davies is coming back or has expressed interest.
I get so confused with that because those actors express interest, but then they don't come back, but they both get news stories out of it. I haven't seen him on the cast list. I think he probably just expressed interest.
Probably. But I'm excited, and Indiana Jones has always been one of my favorite franchises. So yeah, I just don't want them to fuck this up.
Yeah, it's honestly like I would when it comes to like Harrison Ford roles, I would actually probably put it over Star Wars personally. I've always liked Indiana Jones more.
Oh, me too. Straight up, Indy over Han Solo any day of the week. Disney's in the news a lot. Disney's Jungle Cruise will finally be getting released on July 30th in both theaters and for $30 premiere access on Disney Plus if you really want to do that. You've already given them your soul. What's your wallet?
I don't need to stare at the charismaticness of The Rock and the hotness of Emily Blunt for $30 fucking dollars. I can just go see in the theater for less.
Yeah, exactly. And I plan to. I don't really care about this. I'm kind of tired of Disney making movies out of their rides. But, we got this show.
It worked one time. And they even took that one into the ground.
Yeah. Tomorrowland was a bomb. Haunted Mansion was a bomb. Jungle Cruise is probably going to bomb too. Yeah. I've never even been to Disney World. I don't know what their rides are, but I can tell.
My intro to the rides so far have been these movies.
Well, we know we're never getting the Splash Mountain ride because Song of the South has been sealed away. Or Splash Mountain movie, my mistake. Yeah, sorry. This was really cool. Robert Eggers' new movie, The Northman, is confirmed for an April 8th, 2022 release. It's a Viking action epic starring Alexander Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, Ralph Ineson, York, and Anya Taylor-Joy. Can't fucking wait. This is going to be insane.
Oh yeah, I love Eggers' stuff so far, and I'm fucking excited.
I'm glad he can assemble an ensemble like this now, because his first 2 films were so fucking fantastic, and now he's got this Viking epic that Bjork is in this. That surprised me. She's playing a witch.
Yeah, that one surprised me. I was like, I wasn't expecting to see her in this.
The guy who played the Mountain in Game of Thrones is also in this. I just can't pronounce his name, so I didn't include him.
They better watch out. He might squeeze their fucking eyes out.
That dude is barely the same species as the rest of us. That is a giant come to life.
I do like how Eggers is creating his own troupe of actors too, because he's bringing back Willem Dafoe, from The Lighthouse, and Anya Taylor-Joy from The Witch,
and Ralph Ineson and Kate Dickie from The Witch as well.
Oh yeah, so see, I like how he's like coming up with his own like troupe of dedicated actors.
Yeah, and I bet Pattinson's not there because Batman.
That was probably the only reason, because I actually really like Pattinson in The Lighthouse.
That was the movie that turned my opinion of him around. I was before that thinking like the fucking Twilight dude is Batman, and then I watched The Lighthouse and I'm like, this guy's Batman? Fuck yeah. So yeah, that movie is crucial to understanding Pattinson's development as an actor.
Yeah, and how he really hates farting.
Don't we all? God, don't we all? That movie.
Yeah, but
you think that if they didn't do it in black and white, there'd be a lot more laughs?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Longtime character actor Norman Lloyd has died at 106 years old. Lloyd worked with filmmakers like Alfred Hitchcock, Peter Weir, Martin Scorsese, Judd Apatow, and Charlie Chaplin over a long and distinguished career that earned him 2 Emmy nominations. Dude was 106 years old. He was old Hollywood. And yeah, he worked with Chaplin, which is incredible.
God damn.
He was in Chaplin's 1952 dramedy Limelight.
Holy shit. I'm not as familiar with a lot of his work, but when I saw it, because I saw the news and I saw his age, I was like, holy fuck, that man lived a life, 106.
Yeah. His last movie was Trainwreck, the Amy Schumer movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah. This dude was working nonstop since the 30s. Like I'm in awe that I've never heard this guy's name before.
Wow. He went from working with Charlie Chaplin doing a movie with John Cena. Let that sink in.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. He got that honor. My God.
I actually really like John Cena's acting career so far.
He's funny. He's a funny dude. He was in a few episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He was in Dead Poets Society. He was in The Age of Innocence. He was in there was a Judd Apatow film he was in that I'm blanking on. Give me a second here. But yeah, this dude actually might have been Trainwreck. That might have been. Was that Judd Apatow?
Yeah, it was.
There you go. It's Trainwreck. But I'm just to have that kind of a career is quite amazing. The stories this man must have had.
Yeah, that God, I am really mad at myself too for not knowing about as much, because that is to me what sounds like a true fucking legend of Hollywood. To have that kind of career, work with that many people and consistently work from like the 30s to God, whenever Trainwreck came out, which was I think like 2000, like the 2010s.
15, yeah.
Yeah, 2015. Like that's fucking amazing. And to live to 100, yeah. Much like respect to his work, to him, and you definitely RIP big time to that one. God damn.
Straight up. That is, yeah. Wow. The more I learned about Charlie Chaplin, the more I learned that he was a goddamn sadist, but a hell of a filmmaker. And we've explored him on Austin and I did The Great Dictator on Oscar Sunday, but I always love talking Chaplin because there's so many stories underneath that guy's makeup. Because The Little Tramp was funny and hilarious, but Charlie Chaplin, the man, knew how to make people cry. And Marlon Brando called him, I think, a sadist. Like, to make Marlon Brando think you're out of line, you got to be up to some shit.
God damn.
And also, that's how I found out that fucking Chaplin and Brando did a movie together. So I got to see that.
Okay, I didn't know they did a movie together.
Yeah. Finally, and this is huge, NBC has canceled the 2022 Golden Globes. following a number of scandals surrounding the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. After allegations of racism, corruption, bribery, and just plain assholery, NBC has pulled the plug on the show until the HFPA gets their act together for real. No more of this half-ass apology bullshit. They want real change, and the show is dead until that happens. If I had a button that played Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead from The Wizard of Oz, I would push it right now because I'm very happy about this.
What I have to say to that is that's a bold move, Con.
I have always fucking hated the HFPA. They're so full of shit. This award show is meaningless, and I'm glad it's dead.
Yeah, no, that look, I have had my own personal issues with cancel culture, but in this case, this sounds like it's very justified on you said NBC, correct?
Yeah.
NBC's in NBC's case for them to say, you know what, we know what you're doing. You're not fully apologizing, so we're not airing your show. We're done.
Yeah. And
get your act together.
They've been like this for years. There's been no black members of the HFPA for years. And their reaction to this revelation was, I swear to God, they just went on stage and were like, we are so sorry. This does not reflect who we are. We will try better next time. It was so half-assed, and they were clearly reading. Nobody gave a shit. Add that to the constant allegations of, schmoozing Hollywood elite to get nominations. And it's the sleazy Oscars. And the Oscars are already pretty damn sleazy, so we don't need another one.
You don't need to out-sleaze the Oscars. They're doing just great on their own.
There's only room for one hoary movie award show, and it's taken. So fuck off. Yeah. Check out our Oscar Sunday podcast on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, look, if fans don't already know, I'm not the biggest fan of the Oscars myself, but when it comes to this whole awards thing, like, no, good for NBC. Good for them to say, like, look, you're not being sincere. You're clearly not trying to change. And, we have known facts of racism. What is it? You said they were rigging shit, basically.
Yeah, people were taking the Hollywood Foreign Press members out to lavish dinners and sending them baskets of, prizes and shit. And then they were ending up nominated.
Okay. Yeah. So like bribery and corruption, stuff like that. Like when that stuff comes to light, then yeah, I am fully on the side of NBC to say, fuck you. We know this is happening. You're not being serious. We're not airing your show anymore.
Like the Emmys are considered, the pinnacle of television awards. The Oscars are the highest honor a film can achieve. What is the fucking point of the Golden Globes? There is no point. Like, it's just a bunch of assholes schmoozing each other for, to try to take pictures with Johnny Depp. Like, there's no real purpose to this at all. It's got nothing to do with, furthering careers or, cinematic achievement. It's all just corruption and bullshit. And yeah, I was very happy to read this.
Yeah. Well, it was weird because the Globes I remember sometimes it would be like if someone won the Globe, it was almost guaranteed they were going to get the Oscar as well. So it was like, well, what was the point? Because sometimes you just see a double win. Like, oh, they got the Globe, but then you have those weird ones like when Stallone got the Globe for Creed,
yeah, but
got snubbed by the Oscars, which that was one of those cases where I was like, well, fuck you, Oscars. I actually agree with the Globes. He should have won for Creed, in my opinion, but whatever.
Some actors are returning their Globes in support of NBC. Like Tom Cruise has returned his 3 Golden Globes to the HFPA. And you are full of shit when the Scientologist doesn't want to back you. So,
unless he didn't care and Scientologist told him to turn it in. Let's just be honest. I wonder sometimes how much Scientology is pulling the strings on Cruise.
I don't think very often. I think he pulls the strings. I think he's pretty much at the top of this thing.
You think he's the head honcho right now?
Not the head honcho, but he's like one below the head honcho. I mean, you saw that weird award show with the giant dinner plate medallion. You know what's going on here. Oh boy.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah. So, bye, Felicia. And let's move on. Before we get into Spiral, let's talk a bit about the week's other releases. First up, Oxygen, which debuted this past Wednesday on Netflix, a French sci-fi drama by Alexandre Aja or Aja. I don't know how to say his name. I'm going to try. I know you saw part of this.
Yes, I started up, and I want to clarify this was in no relation to the quality of the film. I fell asleep. I was much more tired than I anticipated when I started it up. What I saw and enjoyed, I did enjoy. It looked like something much different from what I'm used to with Aja. I mean, this is a guy that's given us High Tension, the Hills Have Eyes remake, Piranha 3D, Crawl, all of which I'm huge fans of every single one of those films. I think all those films are good, but he is known for very much in-your-face gore, and this was not. This was very much a contained, smaller film, and I was enjoying it. I like the actress, Melanie Laurent. It's a French name. Sorry if I'm fucking it up. I know, in case anyone was wondering, you have a French last name. I was born in Texas. Fuck off. What I saw I was liking. I do hopefully this week be able to sit down again and finish it and actually give it an entire viewing.
It's I don't want to spoil it for you. Let's see if I can dance around this. So sci-fi dramas, I've spoken about this on one of these shows. I'm really tired of sci-fi dramas kind of just doing the same thing there's like 2 or 3 a year. Voyagers, Stowaway, Passengers. They're in a formula. Oxygen broke the formula. To me, I was very impressed with that film. I thought it was very smart, very humanizing. It's all told from inside that pod. We never leave the pod. And a lot of that's because of, COVID. It's a self-contained film that we were able to do. And it's also very smart in showing you how this woman figures out what's going on. I think it spoke to Aja's talents as a filmmaker. I'm excited to see what else he can do. And I can go on record as saying this is the only French film I've ever enjoyed. So, yeah, thank you for that. I gave this an 8. I urge you to keep going on this because it is a very entertaining movie, and we will touch base in the future.
Yeah, I will. I will. Like I said, it was not because of the quality. I was just more tired than I anticipated.
It happens.
And yeah, and I'm a massive Aja fan. I was actually not even interested, so I saw that he was the one directing. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, okay, yeah, I will check this out. I fucking love Aja. I've had to watch a lot of horse shit because of these podcasts. I've had to sit through Federico Fellini. I fell asleep several times watching his films. I had to sit through Lucio Fulci. Fell asleep a lot watching his movies. So it happens. Yeah. Yeah, no. I would give it a chance. Like, yeah, I think I was just tired. Yeah. It's no shots at Aja. Like I said, like High Tension, I thought was a great debut for him. I love the Hills of Eyes remake. I think he did such a solid job with that. Piranha 3D was a lot of fun, so much fun. And same with Crawl. I thought Crawl was a lot of fucking fun. So it was like, and like I said, the fact that he did do something different, even if it is with the COVID restrictions in place, does absolutely speak to his talent that he can do something different and apparently something really good, because I've heard a lot of positive things on it.
Yeah. I hope that he finds out, like he hears about this, like he hears about this episode, finds out you fell asleep during his movie and is just mind-blowingly offended, like to the point where he like hates your guts, like irreparably, like you can never fix this.
Why would you wish that?
Because that would be so funny for me, because I didn't fall asleep and he would be like totally cool with me, but he would hate you.
I was tired. I didn't mean to.
Oh well, it's a great movie. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It is French, so if you don't like subtitles, well, sorry, but it's great.
Yeah, and also be careful because apparently it's French, but Netflix will immediately play it in English. Because that confused the shit out of me at first.
That didn't happen to me.
It for some reason played mine immediately in English, and I noticed the lips weren't matching. I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then when I looked, it said French original dollar. I was like, why wouldn't you just play it? And it's okay.
I'm glad I don't have an issue with subtitles or foreign films because there's so much I would never get to see if I had a problem with that.
Yeah, I embrace the subtitles.
Moving on, Profile, a divisive film between the two of us, and a much delayed release. This originally debuted at a film festival in 2018 and took a long time getting to theaters. Can't really seem to find out why. It's filmed similarly to Unfriended, Searching, and Host in that it is all told through webcams, Facebook, and Skype. And it's a film about it's a true story about a British journalist who goes undercover as a converted Muslim woman to catfish a terrorist and get a story out of it. And while that does sound like a horrifically bad idea, it does get worse. So why don't you start out? What did you think of Profile?
So I was the one that was not a huge fan. Personally, I actually really like the whole, like, I call it like the Skype. There was a name for it I saw someone, but the Skype type of horror films.
Yeah.
I have no issues with them. I actually think it's a really inventive way to tell a story.
Yeah, me too.
I think in this case, it actually took me out of it because it would do that thing where she'd pick a new day and you see all of a sudden, like 3 days later, her life is this much deteriorated and it's cutting to like all this stuff. For me, it didn't really work so well. Like, it took me out having that happen.
Yeah.
And then, like, the biggest thing for me, I understand that the idea of the ISIS, right, is that they are luring women by playing with their emotions to get them to convert and come over. I would have been totally down with this idea of her falling in love with a fucking known terrorist if the movie established more that this is a down on her luck female that's alone. But she's a journalist with a not bad life. She has a very loving boyfriend. There is a scare about her rent, which gets fixed the next day. She gets offered, because of this story, a full-time staff job. There's nothing bad about her life that is depicted, and yet I'm supposed to believe that she got so undercover, she fell in love with a known fucking terrorist, and it wasn't until her IT guy that she was suspicious of at first can decipher the damn message between her dude and the driver that she goes, oh, okay, never mind, and let her complete life deteriorate and fuck everything up. That was just really hard for me to get behind. It's like, why would you be this dumb? You knew what you were getting. You were looking shit up as you were fucking talking to him.
Yeah, admittedly, she did not prep for this at all. Like, she should have learned how to speak the language. Like, this is undercover work in one of the most dangerous organizations on the planet, and you're just going to wing it. That's not smart.
Yeah, that was honestly, I think my biggest reason I ended up not walking away. I was like, if you had done a better job establishing, like, that first teenager they bring up, if they had done her and shown, okay, this is a very much alone person, she feels like she doesn't belong, I would have been more into it. I would have followed better and gone the idea of what you're telling when it comes to ISIS. But all I could think throughout the movie was like, stop, you're being fucking stupid. Why are you letting your relationship with your boyfriend go down the hill for the fucking terrorist that is openly talking about killing people? At no point is he hiding it. He's openly talking about I've killed 20 people, or, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like he's being that fucking charming anyway. He's open about the bad shit he's doing.
But we got to remember who's got the six-pack.
Oh my God.
Mr. Terrorist is significantly hotter than white bread milk toast Matt.
Yeah, you're right. You should go with the guy that have zero issues killing hundreds of innocent people because of his shitty upbringing in London.
That is literally the only positive I can think of why she would prefer the terrorist man. Yeah, I agree with you that there is very little for her to feel alone about, and how she would get sucked into this pitch is very difficult to swallow. I agree with that. I enjoyed it on the strength of the performances and the tenseness of the film. I thought that, scenes where, like, the dog pops in and she's like, get away. Like, when both lives start to like, you know, slide into one another. I like the way that felt. And I kind of wish the film, like the second half of the film, had been more of like the veil collapsing and everyone kind of finding out about, you know, who she really is. Because we never really get to see Bilel's
Bilal, whatever,
reaction to finding out she's a journalist. And I was really looking forward to that.
And I think that's what also bugged me, because I do agree with you that the performances were great in this movie. I'm not going to take that away. Even the chick from Black Lightning was really good in this movie. And yeah, I actually put in my review, like I actually at the end of my review for the site, I put like, this is how it went for me. Kind of bored because I wasn't down for like the way it was being presented, getting mad at the main character. And then at the end, finally getting intrigued. I was with you when that started happening, that veil was getting broken, was when I finally got on board. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Because it was like, okay, I'm going to see things really intensify. But then the movie ends.
Yeah.
Right when I got intrigued and the veil's breaking, and then she has that fucking freak out moment at the end when she's talking to her boss. Because you guys like, look, this is where she lives and stuff. The movie fucking ends and tells me a general blanket statement about ISIS. And I'm like, what really happened to her?
What did it say? Like the FBI advised her to change her name.
Yeah, that was it. And I'm like, all right. So you finally got me hooked, and then you just ended the fucking movie.
I gotta say though, the like terrorist video that he says he'll drop if she launches the story creeped me the fuck out. Like that was disturbing.
That was 100% the most terrifying thing right there. That he released a video that showed exactly where she lived, her name, everything. Because
globally, like every jihadist who sees this woman, kill her. Like fuck.
Yeah, that was absolutely terrifying. And then I think another thing to me, it's the whole release of this film was really weird. This isn't really a quality film. This is more about the release. The release of this film was weird. It feels weird that like it's come out so long after ISIS is no longer considered a threat like it used to be. That now it's coming out, and that it played in festivals back in 2018. Like it's really, especially after the year that we've had in America, and I guess the war, if you will, weird that we're getting an ISIS movie now.
Well, we were supposed to get an ISIS movie in 2018.
Yeah, a little bit more timely then, I would say.
And the movie takes place in 2014.
Yeah, I know it takes place in 2014. I'm saying the release for it's weird. It's not a knock on the quality. It's just like a really weird release.
I think it would have been better. I understand it's based on a book, In the Skin of a Jihadist by Anna Arel, I assume is the real life journalist who did this shit. If so, you're a fucking idiot. I think it would have been better if they'd taken elements of that and made something original, because then we could have gotten a more conclusive finale. Like I would have ended it with them killing the boyfriend. Like he finds Matt and sends her a video of his fucking beheading. Like that's what I would have done. Like I would have gone full jihad on this motherfucker.
I would have done that. I would have made it more known that she does feel alone. Like maybe Matt isn't the best boyfriend, or her job, she's really on her current job. But there's a lot of things I would have done to have sold me better on the story you were telling.
Yeah. Like maybe she's a journalist who like fucked up a source once and got blacklisted, and this is her way back. Like then you've got motivation for getting sucked into this world. Like she cannot go back without something.
Yeah, because that was the other thing, that they kept talking about how great her last story was. In the beginning of the movie, they kept mentioning that, like, oh, they really love your last story. I'm like, how am I supposed to leave you get this badly undercover? Like, you don't have a bad life at all. Your boyfriend is constantly talking about how much he loves you and getting a place together, and even fixing the whole payments on stuff to make sure that you're still fine. Like, what point is your life bad? I don't understand.
Like she, her whole plan is just blindly go on Facebook and hope that a terrorist reaches out. Like that's not good undercover work. I mean, in like undercover ops, they prepare you for months. So you are 100% qualified for this job. Like it's a mental toll, it's a physical toll. You have to forget who you are. You can't just back and forth it like that. And we see her fuck that up several times. Like when she posts, RIP on her actual Facebook page. And then like, I don't know. I did love in the end, and in case you all weren't noticing, we are spoiling the fuck out of all these movies. That's just a given at this point. It's not my fault if you didn't know that. When it's revealed that he's been doing the exact same thing to her the entire time, that he's just there to get sex slaves. Like that shit got tense. I can't believe she went all the way to fucking Amsterdam. Like she went so close. She was going to buy the ticket to Syria out of fucking spite.
And you know what's funny? That's when I was getting angry. I was like, so you did that. You dumbly did all this bullshit. And then you're surprised when you find out he's been lying to, again, known terrorist, talks about people he's killed. I think he mentions he's been wanted. He mentions they want him. He's a wanted man. He says it.
Yeah.
And then she's surprised when she finds out, oh, you just want me for a sex slave? No shit. You read an article on it earlier in the movie.
There is no situation ever where a European woman has been lured by ISIS to the Middle East. No situation that way has ever ended positive. It either ends with sex slave or violent death. There is no third option. There's no happy family in ISIS. These are terrorists. These are monsters.
Yeah. Her introduction to them, it was that video he posted of an ISIS woman getting beheaded. I'm like, how does that sell you on this fucking guy?
Another thing, that scene in the Amsterdam hotel room where like the people are banging on the door and he's like, who's there? And she's like, nobody. Who the fuck was it? Who was banging on her door?
That was never explained.
What was that? Like that was not room service. That was get the fuck out the room kind of knocks.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh shit, his people are about to come in and grab her, and like that. I was like, oh no.
I was thinking either that or like Interpol, like somebody is getting her, but no.
No. Well, and then there was like that, and then did you think it was weird when the boyfriend brings her dog back, but he doesn't come inside?
Yeah,
he just lets the dog in, and then okay, bye.
I think the craziest part is that she didn't tell him most of this. She just kind of let him believe that she was just casually chatting with a jihadist. Like she didn't tell him this is for work. I'm going to be doing some undercover thing. You can't be here for a bit. Like,
which is why I didn't feel bad when he broke up with her. I'm like, you didn't tell him shit.
No, he can do better. And it looks like he is.
Yeah, I'm like, absolutely. He has every right to think you're toxic because holy shit, you didn't tell him anything.
Yeah, that is dark shit to hide from your significant other. Yeah, this was still, despite all these flaws, I did enjoy it.
No, I
gotta say,
I'm glad you. I'm not like you enjoy what you enjoy. I'm glad you enjoy it. It was just very hard for me personally to get past a lot of this shit. It was like, no.
Fair enough. I kind of want to read the book. I want to see like, is there stuff they left out? Like, what else happened here? So
I might read it once my anger has subsided.
Fair enough. So that's Profile. I would say check it out. Maybe don't pay movie ticket prices. It'll be on streaming eventually.
Unless it takes like 1 or 3 years.
Somebody like this movie's just like one guy just doing everything. He's promoting it at the festivals. He's transferring it from film to DVD. Just one dude. Oh, this was filmed in 9 days. It's entirely possible.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's the only bit of trivia of this movie. Filmed in 9 days. Neat.
All right.
Anything else? Next up, The Woman in the Window. Netflix release was supposed to come out in the theaters last year, got pulled due to rewrites, then got pulled due to COVID, finally bought by Netflix, dropped this past Friday. And what a shit show this movie is.
I did not have a chance to watch it, so this is all you, big guy.
Yeah, this was one of... So production and a lot of people have been saying like, no, this is not a remake of Rear Window. Like they are so adamant about it. 5 minutes into this movie, I'm like, this motherfucker is a remake of Rear Window. Like, why are they lying about this?
Were they really saying that? Because the trailer sold it as a Rear Window remake.
IMDb trivia says like, despite plot similarities, this is not a remake of Rear Window. And a lot of people were like, no, it's not a remake. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's a gender swapped reimagining that is way worse. Way worse. Amy Adams is the only one doing a lot of good work here. She is fantastic in this movie. As an agoraphobic who is separated from her husband, Anthony Mackie, who is barely in the movie. Why cast a A-lister like that if you're not going to use him? And she can't leave her house due to reasons. And do you mind if I spoil this one, or are you going to watch this one?
I don't. I'm not rushing to see this one.
All right. She's crazy, and Anthony Mackie and her daughter have been dead the whole time from a car accident she caused. And that's why she's agoraphobic. And
that actually doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. She new neighbors move in next door. Gary Oldman, again, criminally underused. Everyone in this movie is like A-listers that do not need to be here because they can do so much better. Like, why are they in this movie? Wyatt Russell, like Julianne Moore. It's crazy.
Wait till we talk about the next movie that I did watch.
So what else? It was kind of forgettable. I watched it last night and it was like, so the new family moves in next door, Gary Oldman and his wife and their son, their teenage son, Ethan, who's a little on the spectrum and abused as well. And one day this woman comes over after these asshole kids are egging Amy Adams' house because she didn't put out Halloween candy, because just because you're mentally ill doesn't mean you can't be nice. And they make that point in the movie. It's crazy. Julianne Moore befriends Amy Adams. They have a drink together in Amy Adams' house, and she's Gary Oldman's wife. Next day, she sees Julianne Moore stabbed in the chest across the street and is like, call 911. And she calls the cops. Gary Oldman comes over with his wife and is like, she's fine. And it's Jennifer Jason Leigh. And she's like, that's not the woman I met. He's like, well, this is my wife. And the cops are like, you are crazy, lady. We're never going to listen to you, and leave. And really, it's just a series of impossible scenarios where the cops don't even investigate shit. She's made to look insane. And then in the end, it turns into a crime, like an action thriller for 20 minutes. It was very boring. It was very clearly a remake of Rear Window. Rear Window, the movie itself, is in the film. Like, they're watching it at one point. Like, it's not an homage if you just fucking steal it.
It's not a remake, but we're going to definitely put the movie in at least a scene.
Yeah. So in the end, it turns out that teenager Ethan, who's on the spectrum, is not on the spectrum. He's just psychotic, crazy, manipulative. He killed Julianne Moore, who's actually his birth mother, who showed up looking for cash. And Gary Oldman and Jennifer Jason Leigh helped him cover it up because they hated her too. But now Ethan has a taste for it. He goes after Amy Adams, and she gets the upper hand somehow after getting stabbed in the face with a fucking like garden rake thing. And then Brian Tyree Henry shows up at the hospital and was like, I am so sorry we didn't believe you, Miss Crazy Pants. And it's just nothing really makes any sense. You don't really get a lot of satisfaction, and you feel like every actor, Wyatt Russell's just there to get killed off screen. His whole character is so weird. Like, he's angry about her looking at his mail because he's an ex-con who skipped his probation, and that never comes back. Like, it's just a series of red herrings that doesn't go anywhere. And the ending is like, really? That's what you went with?
That sounds like a real waste of Wyatt Russell. He's been shown some incredible talent.
Yeah, freaking Falcon and U.S. Agent are in this movie. And they're both underused.
Oh, damn it.
I was waiting for fucking Sebastian Stan to show up as a pizza guy or something.
He still has like his robotic arm. He just always has it now.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is filming in the set right next door, and he just like bolted over and like forgot to change out a wardrobe. That would be awesome.
Have you seen the pics of him for his upcoming movie as a Tommy Lee?
That looks crazy. Him and Lily James look completely unrecognizable. That looks wild.
I'm actually like, I saw the picture and I was like, I'm kind of down to see this. That looks fucking damn. That they look spot on.
I never thought I'd want to see a mini series about Tommy Lee and Pam Anderson's sex tape, but I gotta say, I'm curious.
Yeah, look, you know what? I stopped being in disbelief of films coming out when they announced Jackass 4, and I was like, all right.
Now, like, we're getting biopics of sex tape stories now. Like, not every story in history is worth a movie.
No, but we're getting it. Look, I better look. This is all I gotta say. Look, because all these rock biography, metal biographies come out. I better be like in my 40s and 50s and seeing shit on like Slipknot and Zombie and Korn, and finally be the guy in the theater and be like, I remember when I was a kid and they were coming out with that music.
Some guy's gonna say, "Shut the fuck up, old man. We're trying to watch this."
Yeah, some kids. Oh, those are classics. I lived it.
You don't know music the way I know music. Just go full senile, crazy freak on them. Yeah, I could see that. I saw them in 2010. Like, just anyway. Yeah, Woman in the Window. I gave it a 6. Not very good. It's on Netflix, but honestly, you could skip this one. Because I just told you everything you need to know, and no one's going to ask you about this movie. So,
Look, as of now, there's only 2 films I want to watch new release rights I missed, and that is Oxygen and The Mitchells vs. the Machines.
that was so good, and yes, you need to watch that one. Finally, Those Who Wish Me Dead, a clunky title for a clunkier movie. Why don't you start us off on this?
Well, first, I'd like to say I did enjoy it slightly more than Profile, but not by a whole lot. The score was literally like a 5 on Profile and a 6 on this movie, so it's not like it was a whole lot. I have become a real big fan of Taylor Sheridan's work. I like what he's done writing rights with Sicario and Hell or High Water. I am a fan of the show Yellowstone. I like how he's able to make really believable, grounded characters and mix it in this like modern Western. They like to call it the neo-Western.
Of course,
they like to call it. And I like how he does that. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Like, I don't know. Like, none of those things that he's known for, in my opinion, when I watch his stuff, was to me evident here. He had a very talented cast. You had Jolie kind of come back to more of an action role. We haven't seen her do that in a while, but she barely does any action. Then there's the whole thing about her prior experience that traumatized her that's never really fully explored, like ever.
Yeah.
You have 2 storylines kind of happening, right? You got the Jolie one, and then the one where these assassins are killing people for a reason that I don't recall ever being explained, actually.
That was the biggest issue I had with it. Was like, what's the point of this? Like, what are they after? It's just like somebody has a secret, that somebody knows something about something. And then we meet Tyler Perry for 10 minutes, but we're not told what the hell this is about.
Yeah, okay. So like I watched this and I was pretty tired and I thought maybe I just don't remember, but they never explain why the fuck these people are getting killed. And then these 2 storylines finally converge, but they still feel like they haven't fully converged. Like, at no point is Jolie running away from the assassins. She's just trying to get the kid into town. That's like she doesn't meet them until the end of the fucking movie. Then there's like a fire they start randomly to, I guess, finally kickstart the whole like issue she had at the beginning of the movie. You have and again you have a cast like you got Tyler Perry, who has done good in dramatic movies before. You got Jolie, who's done good before. You got one of my favorites from Shane from The Walking Dead, John Berthal, who crushes it in anything he does. So on and so forth. Nicholas Hoult, he really looked like he was committed to his fucking performance, but all of them are severely underutilized.
Also, Nicholas Hoult and Aidan Gillen are 2 incredibly incompetent assassins. The whole point of an assassination is it's not supposed to be this messy. They burn down a whole goddamn town just to get this kid.
Well, that was another thing. You've seen moments where like Nicholas Hoult isn't on board with Aidan Gillen's method. You see it in his fucking facial expression, but we are never given anything more.
Yeah, we never are. Like he doesn't want to hurt a pregnant woman, but he still, almost burns her face with the poker. He has no issues shooting at the kid. Just why bother dropping those hints if you're never going to deliver?
Yeah, this is a film that to me just reeked of underutilization and just kind of underwhelming with the name attached. It would have come used to the quality with him.
I felt that John Bernthal was criminally underused. I wanted more from him. I think him and Nicholas Hoult, I think, should have swapped roles. I think Bernthal as a hardened assassin would have been way better. Nicholas Hoult has this kind of boyish charm about him that I would have believed he's a cop who wants to do the right thing.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can be down for that. At the same time, I wonder if they purposely did that because maybe Bernthal didn't want to do something that was too Punisher-like, and Holt's maybe looking for doing something a little bit different than what he's known for.
Fair enough. Yeah, it could be something.
But I can see that working as well if they were to like swap it.
It also, and this might just be my personal bias because I don't like her. I did not buy Angelina Jolie as a traumatized firefighter for a second.
I'm not as huge into her like a lot of people are. I don't think she's a bad actress by any means, and I had a bunch of buddies that had humongous crushes on her when we were kids.
I never understood that either, honestly.
I don't think she's ugly. I mean, I'd be down, but I was not one that had the huge crush on her. I felt like she did fine performance wise, but like comparing to seeing her things like Tomb Raider and Wanted, she delivered on like none of the action for kind of coming back to a more action centric role. She did none of it.
Yeah. It's just I don't know if you felt this, but I felt this, and I looked into the Letterboxd reviews, and I was surprised to find I was not alone in this. But this felt like a 90s movie. Like this had like a 90s action thriller kind of thing going for it, where you're not really told what's going on. You just know assassins, fire, Angelina Jolie. But I feel like nowadays we need more than that. Like I need to know why something's happening for me to get invested in it.
And the 90s usually did other shit to get you into it. Like they didn't throw in like 20,000 storylines. It was a very streamlined story.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was just a bummer, and I'm glad we had Spiral because otherwise this would have been the primary, and that would have been a bummer of an episode.
Yeah. Thank God for Spiral because I know we both agreed on this one.
And with that, let's get into the meat of today's story. I don't know why I said that. Today's show, Spiral, was the brainchild of Chris Rock, who happened to run into Lionsgate Vice Chairman Michael Burns at a friend's wedding in Brazil. Rock wanted to branch into horror. He was a big fan of the Saw franchise, so he had a meeting with Lionsgate where he pitched his idea. Apparently, it went well. Josh Stolberg and Pete Goldfinger, who wrote 2017's Jigsaw, were brought on to write the script, and Saw vet Darren Lynn Bousman was brought on to direct. So they were kind of like picking, a little like greatest hits of the franchise to make this new one, which I appreciated.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate in general what they kind of did with this movie, and that because people were telling me, a buddy of mine, EJ, he had seen it, or he got like a screener. He works for a website, does reviews and stuff, and he had told me that he's like, hey, look, it's good, you'll like it, but just know, this is a stylistically different film.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. This felt like a Saw movie through and through to me.
It did, but like really watch that series again, and to me, this does not feel like the sequels as much as it does like it feels more like the first one, in that the torture, the traps were not the focus this time, which was something the sequels tended to lean into.
I agree with that. I was also, a little bummed we didn't see Billy or Jigsaw, but you could tell that, you could feel Jigsaw. Like he was here in spirit. Like the legacy was not ignored, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, like I said, I liked how they went. The style was a little different. It was a new way to bring about this story, but still very much a Saw movie. Is still in the continuity. And yeah, Jigsaw had his legs. So you had the picture immediately as soon as I saw it. It wasn't like it was like, oh shit, we have a Jigsaw copycat on our hands, like immediately.
Yeah.
You could feel it. Yeah, what John Kramer did all those years ago still haunts the police to this day.
I thought it was funny where they mentioned like Jigsaw never targeted cops. I'm like, you watch those movies? He killed quite a few cops. Like in Saw 5, they have a whole fucking lineup like of the pictures of every cop who died on this case. Like I remember that from Tap to whoever the fuck died in 4, like Matthews. Like I remember that, and now they're saying like he never went after cops.
Well, technically, Tap got shot by Zepp.
All right. Well, what about his partner who got blasted with the wall of shotguns?
Okay, that one's fair.
What about
I'll give you that one.
Matthews and
I'll give you Matthews. I'll give you Riggs. But then also the female,
Carrie?
yeah, she got killed by Amanda. Remember?
True, but she was still put in the trap on Jigsaw's orders.
Yeah, but he didn't know it was an unwinnable trap. He had suspicions, and then that was like one of his many confirmations on it. So that was, I put that more on Amanda because she made it unwinnable. And then anything past 4 was a cop, Hoffman, who was the killer, killing other cops to hide his identity. So I would argue that yes, Jigsaw didn't necessarily go out of his way to target cops compared to his apprentices that had almost 0 issues.
Potato, tomato. Also, did you find it odd that like we've got a Saw movie with a, that's clearly a continuation. We've got a situation where the cops themselves are being targeted, dirty cops, and no one even mentions Hoffman.
That was weird, and I did look it up because I know that one of the proposed ideas was to have Chris Rock's character, his father, actually be Tap, but they were like, let's not do that. Like I think they really kind of wanted distance from the original run to an extent, just to break free of like story continuity that got convoluted after so many fucking sequels.
I don't think it's that convoluted. You just got to pay attention.
Yeah, but I think it was just a chance to have more freedom with the story. It was still weird because it's like you think that would be mentioned because Hoffman was a cop that was an apprentice, but apparently Carrie Ooles, who was the real mastermind, is no longer around.
Well, I'm not saying the killer needs to be Hoffman's ghost, but like just when you got a serial killer modeling himself after Jigsaw, you want to go through known accomplices and apprentices, and Hoffman's name's going to come up. Like they're going to remember the cop who was the next Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Semantics. Potato, tomato.
I will say what I didn't notice, thinking about when you mentioned the dirty cops stuff, a lot of reviews for this are pointing out how like topical this movie is with the cops.
Yeah.
And the only reason it at that point kind of bugs me is because this we need to pay attention to when a film came out, when it was made, and what was going on in America. It was because a lot of people are being like, it really tries to make a statement about the cops nowadays, and it doesn't do a good job. I'm like, well, it actually wasn't. I was like, when this movie was filmed and came out, the riots had not been a thing. I was like, when they filmed it, the riots were not a thing. And then it got delayed because of COVID. Then the riots happened, and now we got it. It's just a matter of like what happened in America in the year that it got delayed.
I don't care if it was. I think that pointing out, doing a film that talks about the, the shittiness and the corruptibility of cops, I'm on board for that. I think that shit's sick, and I think we should be talking about it. And if Saw wants to take a shot at that, go ahead. I don't get why that's like a soft issue. I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I've noticed a lot of people keep pointing it out. I'm like, look, and not only that, like you said, it's always been kind of like a thing with Saw. Like, Saw's always been a thing about pointing out inherent human evils.
And again, Hoffman, corrupt ass cop. Like, no one was saying this shit then.
Yeah, so it's like, stop trying to put this spin on this particular Saw movie. It was like, it's just a matter of that shit, the shit that, with the riots happen in America, and then this film got delayed a year.
Saw 2 is all about a corrupt cop who fucked over a lot of people.
Like, yeah, Detective Matthews.
This has been kind of a running theme since like the beginning here.
Yeah, this is not a new theme the Saw franchise has brought forward.
Yeah. Tap was like kicked off the force in the first movie for like being, harassing people over this investigation. There's been bad cops in every movie.
Yeah, but we're now pointing it out because timing. But
I love that this film still did not win with Rotten Tomatoes. We're never going to get a positive Saw movie. It's never.
No, but you know what? 54% is fucking good for Saw.
It's dropped. It's 39 now.
God damn it.
But it's 76 user, and that's what matters with these.
That is what matters. No, yeah, I know. I liked it a lot. Chris Rock actually really surprised me. There was a couple of questionable dramatic moments from him.
Like his wide-eyed "fuck you," like that. That was
Oh yeah, all that. What the scene in the trailer? He's targeting all the cops. You're like,
yeah.
oh, okay, Mr. Rock. But for the most part, he does do really good in this movie. And I did like the early scenes when he's being like that kind of like free flowing dude that's making the jokes and stuff. That was really good. Like that was like prime fucking Chris Rock right there.
The whole opening with like talking about Forrest Gump made me laugh so hard. Just, she got with him, yeah, when she had AIDS. Like I didn't see a sequel. that was great. Oh boy, there were a lot of Tarantino references in this movie.
Yeah. I noticed. I was like, well, there was a lot of Tarantino references, and this movie more so than like the first one really felt. You could tell the influence of Seven on this one, like big time.
I could feel that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the art direction was great. I did not like new Jigsaw's voice.
Yeah. No, I think that's to me. Okay, so you have like two types of horror villains, right? You have like your Michaels and your Jasons and stuff like that, where you can get a new actor for the most part. That you still want them to do good performance because trust me, even though they don't talk, if they give a shitty performance, you're going to tell. But then you have your ones like Chucky, Freddy, Jigsaw. Well, that voice is just iconic. So it's to me, it's going to be so difficult because of how great and perfect and iconic Tobin Bell has become with that to do anything that will even remotely get close. Because I was with you, I wasn't really behind the voice, and if anything, with that, I didn't think the twist was as great as prior Saw films.
It's pretty obvious. It was a pretty obviously the guy who got killed off screen is not dead.
Yeah, but and that could be the fact that this is what the ninth movie, ninth. Sorry, ninth film. They should know what us people who are watching. Most people watch this movie are diehard Saw fans. We're gonna be looking for the fucking twist, so you have to try harder than the guy who just dies off screen.
That being said, the motivations made sense, and I liked that that he wanted to like continue John Kramer's legacy on a larger scale, which makes me very intrigued for the future. What I would have done though is I would have kept Tobin Bell's voice as the computer, but I wouldn't have done it at first. I would have had it be a weird, text to speech voice for the first couple murders. But then at the end with Sam Jackson, I would have had him like turn a knob and modify the voice. And now it's Jigsaw. Like to say like, I am Jigsaw now. Like that would have been really cool.
Yeah, I think at the very least, they could have found a way to get his voice, which would have helped a lot more, making the twist better. Yeah, I would have kept the voice. The weird, like whatever that voice was weird.
Like, what's creepier? I want to play a game, or I want to play a game. Like, no, like, that shouldn't have escaped the cutting room floor.
Yeah. I will say, and that's probably why I gave the score I did, that why I still liked it. Sometimes them trying so hard to differentiate this from the rest of Saw did hinder it at times, especially because there's so many Saw moments. Like I said, there's a twist. There was the fast editing, the fast cuts that has become synonymous with that franchise. So it's like it was a really weird mix of like trying to be completely different but still be a Saw movie.
I was so happy we got Charlie Clouser's music though.
I fucking lost my shit in the theater when I started hearing it.
I was worried. I was like, are they gonna do it? And then it kicked in. I'm like, fuck yes, it's a Saw movie.
I was like, yes. And dude, also, obviously we have not talked about it, but The Traps obviously being a Saw movie.
Oh, we'll get to that for sure.
Yeah. But no, hearing that score, because I was wondering, they didn't really play it at first when the twist was. I was like, what's the score coming? But then they got to the end when everything was like picking up, like, and then they started playing. I was like, oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. It had a very much kind of a game over vibe from the first movie.
Yes.
Which was nice.
With that said, Am I the only one that kind of thought that Samuel Jackson was severely underutilized in this movie?
Totally underutilized. Like I think he very much signed on to this thing as a favor to Chris Rock. And he was there, but he wasn't gonna be there the whole time.
Yeah, like I liked it. Like the scenes he was in, I liked the flashback sequences, and I was
I love
legitimately
that. Oh, go ahead.
I was legitimately interested in the relationship aspect of him and Chris Rock, but it never got explored because he just disappears at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that was odd. They were trying to make him a red herring. Like they were trying to make you think like it was him, but not a chance in hell is Samuel L. Jackson the next Jigsaw. That's not happening.
I'm like, that's not going to happen. That means you have to commit him to more movies. That ain't happening. He has a Marvel deal he's more than happy with.
Yeah, I love that in the flashbacks, the way they made you real, the way they told you like this is young Sam Jackson, is they gave him a mustache, but I fucking believed it. Like I didn't question for a second. Like, yeah, he looks 30 years younger. Sure.
What? Wait, the stash, and they made him angry. Did you notice that all his flashback scenes, he's pissed, and it's awesome.
I love when Zeke gets shot because that one cop doesn't back him up, and Marcus goes there. He's like, I'm gonna go check with dispatch, who was the closest in the area, and then I'm gonna fucking shoot him. Just beats the shit out of that one guy so unceremoniously. I love that. Like,
you motherfucker.
Yeah. On top of, beneath all that shit, he loves his son and he's gonna fuck up anyone who hurts him. Like that was cute.
I am so happy he got a really good motherfucker in that movie. When he saw the thing that said, "Do you want to play a game, Chief Banks?" He's like, "Oh, you want to play games, motherfucker?" And I was like, yes. Yes.
It's in his like fucking contract. He's got to say it at least once in like every movie he makes, or at least almost say it.
Oh yeah, if they want a PG-13, I'm like, Marvel obviously does.
They still gave it to him in Captain Marvel. He still got to say it.
Oh yeah, that is true.
The only fuck Disney has ever okayed.
Oh, it won't be the only one now. Deadpool 3.
Oh yeah, they are gonna take full advantage of that. It's gonna open with like Deadpool like riding Mickey Mouse in like a fucking bondage house or some shit. Like they're gonna go crazy with that.
I can't wait for the amount of jokes Ryan Reynolds is going to make about the whole merger between Disney and Fox.
Somebody suggested, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but I'm going to say it again because I just love this. Somebody suggested a great Deadpool cameo for a future X-Men movie that's PG-13, and he's fully aware that it's PG-13, and he's waiting for the right moment to use his only fuck because he knows he gets one. And then right when he's going to do it, Wolverine does it. And Deadpool's just pissed the rest of the movie, but he can't cuss him out because they've already exhausted the amount of fucks they're allowed to have. That would rock.
I would love that.
Oh, great. Oh, so let's talk a bit about the cast and crew here. Darren Lynn Bousman directed Saw 2, Saw 3, and Saw 4, as well as films like 2010's Mother's Day and 2008's Repo, the Genetic Opera. And bringing him back was a big way to kind of assure fans that this was not going to be a reboot. This was going to be, not the same Saw we know and love, but let's say a close cousin.
Yeah, because I think as much as obviously credit goes to James Wan with the first one in birthing this franchise, one could argue you could easily say the next biggest name was Darren Lynn Bousman. He made, for many people, myself included, a lot of the fan favorite sequels other than like Saw 6. Because Saw 2, like we talked about, absolutely builds and goes bigger from the first movie, and is one of the best fucking sequels in horror out there. And I think Saw 3 is great. I am a defender of Saw 4, and a lot of people don't really like it as much. I like Saw 4. So I like all of his Saw films. I was very happy to hear that he was coming back to the franchise to do this.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. And also James Wan and Lee Winnell signed on as producers. So this was getting, approval from all the right people.
Right. It was kind of like a Halloween 2018. It was like every single bit of news announcement was just making me happier and happier. Like, oh my God, okay. At first I was like, really, Chris Rock is doing a Saw movie? Okay. Okay. And then as it went along, I was like, okay, we might have something here. I'm getting excited now.
So Chris Rock plays Detective Zeke Banks, the only good cop on the force, which I find hilarious. That whole idea in fucking the police culture that like the people who call out the bullshit are labeled as rats and like shown like to be disloyal. Like that is such horseshit. And that's why there's, good cops are hesitant to step up because this is the shit they have to deal with. They get blacklisted.
Yeah, it really kind of speaks to how the structure works because almost to me it was infuriating. It's like he did the right thing. Like that guy killed someone, an innocent man, murdered, and he did the right thing, and yet he is getting destroyed by the entire department. Even his boss, who won't really stick up for him, she's just giving him shit jobs.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was like, yeah, join up with the guy. Like, makes sense. He's doing an effective job. I gotta say,
he's the only one that seems to like you, buddy.
That and he's cleaning house in an effective way. Hard to argue with this one.
Yeah.
Rock is one of the most iconic comedians of all time. He began his career in comedy in the cast of Saturday Night Live, then became huge with his stand-up specials like Kill the Messenger, Never Scared, and Bigger and Blacker. He's hosted the Oscars a few times, and some of his most notable starring roles include Dogma, Osmosis Jones, the Madagascar franchise, Top 5, and most recently season 4 of FX's Fargo. Yeah, he's been kind of, comedy royalty for decades now, and it's cool to see him get, branch out like this. I've seen a few episodes of season 4 of Fargo, so I know that he does have range, and this just kind of confirms that.
Yeah, no, he shows Ranger. He's always been a comedian. I liked Lethal Weapon 4. He's hilarious in. There's like that great joke where Mel Gibson, I think, convinces Danny Glover that he's actually like gay. Instead of like wanting to, ask him for permission to marry his daughter. So Danny Glover thinks he's gay. So like there's this great confusion joke that keeps happening. Which is really funny. And yeah, he, like I said, there are some questionable moments where I don't know, maybe if it was hard for him to reach that beat, that emotion, that it was kind of like hard. But I would say overall, like 99% of the movie, yeah, he shows incredibly effective range and is actually really good in this.
I agree. I loved him in Dogma as Rufus, Jesus's 13th apostle who didn't make it into the Bible because he's black. Yeah, he's funny as hell. I love his stand up. Yeah, I'm glad he's still doing good. Did you see his most recent Netflix special, Tambourine?
No, I need to.
It's good.
I'm about to say it's probably really funny. Another thing I forgot about him in this is that usually, as we know, he's actually known for being very like outrageous and very over the top with his fucking comedy when he does a movie. So to see a more subdued version of him here was actually really cool.
Well, the fact that he had an idea for a Saw movie he wanted to do and he got to do it, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it definitely it bleeds from him that he is a fan and that he really wanted this made, which does help a lot with the performance.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Oscar nominee Samuel L. Jackson plays former police chief Marcus Banks. Jackson was nominated for his performance in 1994's Pulp Fiction, and he's one of the most prolific actors in Hollywood. Some of his career highlights include Jackie Brown, Django Unchained, Deep Blue Sea, Snakes on a Plane, Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Negotiator, the Star Wars prequels, and the MCU as Nick Fury. Dude is an acting machine. And I think he always delivers. I think it's crazy. He's only been up for one Oscar. For pretty much all of his Tarantino work, he should have been up every time. Yeah, it was just him being here is kind of a badge of honor. Like, we got Sam Jackson to be in a Saw movie.
And to think, I remember the highest point for this was that they got Danny Glover to be in the first Saw movie, and they completely beat us with, no, we got Samuel Jackson to be in the 9th Saw movie.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
play
like
games,
said,
motherfucker.
he's good. Like I said, I do think he's underutilized, but he is really good as usual in this. I do like the scenes he is in.
His blood trap was freaky.
Oh yeah, I was wondering what it was like when they got to there. We'll get more into it later, but yeah, I was wondering what the fuck was going on with that trap. I'm looking forward to his new movie with Ryan Reynolds, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, but that's because I like The Hitman's Bodyguard.
I didn't see the first one. I'm gonna have to watch that before we go there on the show.
I think you will like it. Those two play really well off each other, and it's actually really funny.
I like them both, so I'm sure I'll like it. Max Minghella plays William Shank, Zeke's new rookie partner. Minghella plays Nick Blaine on The Handmaid's Tale and has appeared in such films as The Social Network, The Ides of March, Horns, and 8 episodes of The Mindy Project. And so spoiler alert, this is our Jigsaw. What do you think?
I think, other than the twist not being fully like great in this one, that for the actual reveal and his performance wise, I actually really liked him. I would be down to see him be the killer in the hopeful sequels we get out of this. I thought they did a good job along with his performance again of giving us a justifiable reason on why he's the one that wants to carry on this legacy. And I'm actually kind of glad it's not some super secret fucking apprentice again.
That would have been, oh my God, I would have been so pissed.
God, I don't think I could take another one. But
you are the true one who will carry out my legacy, like for the 5th time.
Until the next attempt at this. I liked him. I think like I said, if this is successful, I think he's going to do a lot of good stuff with it. I think they need to work on the voice. I agree with you. They need to work on that voice, or just bring back at the very least Tobin Bell's fucking voice.
In the Saw sequels, 4 to Jigsaw, even though John Kramer was dead, the game still used his voice. I don't think it's that much. I know Tobin Bell was interested in coming back in some capacity.
Yeah, he has expressed interest from the beginning that as long as the script's good, he doesn't care if it's his voice or him himself, he will come back.
Maybe next time.
Hopefully, we need this one to do good for maybe next time. So,
Marysol Nichols plays Captain Angie Garza, probably the worst fucking police captain ever. She played Nadia Yasser on 24 and Hermione Lodge on Riverdale. Her career is mostly recurring roles on TV shows. This is pretty much her biggest movie. She had a pretty grisly death.
when we really get into the traps, yeah, I can't. Wow.
Spiral has an IMDb score of 6.1, Rotten Tomatoes score of 39%. It's the 9th film in the Saw franchise and is now in theaters. Go see it so we can get another one. So with that, let's talk traps. So we start with the tongue in the grinder thing, which was fucked up.
They did the close up real quick, and you see, like, you hear the rip in the blood. I was like, oh God.
He's got, I think Boz was his name.
Yeah, Boz.
He's got 30 seconds or something to rip out his tongue, or else he's going to get smacked by the A train or the C train, whatever, the train. I've been watching too much The Boys. Anyway, so he's there because he lies on under oath all the time, and he's gotten a lot of criminals off and put a lot of innocent people in prison. So now it's time to tear out that which makes you guilty, or you will die. And do you think this guy's also making unwinnable traps?
No, because had he just immediately jumped off the damn thing, he probably would have been fine.
Okay, maybe. All right. I have better evidence for the next trap.
It's like in this one, had he just immediately boom and then ran, he probably could have made it. I will say he makes these traps incredibly more difficult to win. I'll say that. I don't think they're completely unwinnable like Amanda's, but they are incredibly difficult to fucking get out of.
I don't know if I could rip my own tongue out. I don't think I could do
That's
it.
what I'm saying, because that is the thought of ripping my own tongue out. But that, and I'll say this now before we get into the rest of traps. These traps to me really harken back before the series went wild in the later sequels for traps, and that they are painful. They really make you think, could I get through this? Like the baseball, like the quality of these traps, because this movie goes back to the first film that there's not a quantity of traps, there's a quality of traps. And I think each one of these traps is fucking stellar.
I agree. I think that he went a little heavy on the mouth stuff. I think having 2 traps involving the mouth in the same movie is a little lazy.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a Ninth Saw film. I don't even know how they're still coming up with traps.
I can't believe that in 9 films we've done nothing with the dick. Nothing.
Wow. No, that was Hostile Part 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many rapists have been involved in these games? We've never gone there.
Yeah, I would say that. I guess that's too much, but Hostile Part 2 did a thing with a dick, and that was released into theaters.
Eli Roth got to cut a man's dick off right in front of us, but Saw can't do it.
Yeah, and a dog ate it. Don't forget that part.
Oh,
dog
yeah, I remember that.
Trust me, I've seen that movie a lot. I quite vividly remember that scene. That's not the point.
That's the only part of Hostel, too, I remember. You don't forget something like that.
Stayed with me.
Yeah. Fucking nightmare fuel. It'll be with me forever. You get it.
Yeah.
So the second trap is the fingers, right? That was the second trap. That was rough. Oh my god.
That's another one that, again, I'm not gonna say it's unwinnable, but fuck, is that hard to win? Like it's hard to win because like you have to like you said, you have to clamp down, or your fingers are getting ripped. So it's like you have to find a way to scream essentially without fucking opening your mouth. Because it's not like it feels great to get your fingers ripped off slowly.
Yeah, and you just the noise, the sound design of the tear, you felt that shit. And then I feel like even though he ripped his fingers off, he still got electrocuted by the bath.
I think he took too long because remember a couple of times he would open his mouth to scream.
He's got a lot for that though. He's got a lot for some scream time. These are not, that's not a stoic job there. You're gonna scream.
Well, and that's why I say I'm not gonna say these traps are unwinnable. They're hard. They're a lot harder. This is a jigsaw that doesn't fuck around this time.
Fair enough.
But no, yeah, this dude, like talking about like the sound design, that's another thing with the not necessarily first, like I said, the film delivers on quality with the traps, in my opinion. The other thing is that it is so refreshing. And what it seems like all these horror films that love to do CGI blood, CGI this when it comes to the big studios, to see a film released by a studio on theaters and the sound design and the practical effects for the gore is king and act because like I was feeling that shit. Like if they had done that with some stupid CG bloating, I'd be like, oh, whatever. But the gore effects are like top notch. The sound effects of the rip, like I was feeling every single trap.
Yeah, me too. And actually, I wanted to mention this. I had the most sadistic audience because they were laughing violently at every trap. It was crazy. Like every trap, people were just like, ah, like I had like crazy laughter in my theater.
I know around like by the time when the franchise was coming out once a year, you'd have people cheering in the theaters, but it was kind of like the traps became like what slasher killing was, right? Like that's what people came to see. I don't recall people laughing.
Well, it might just be that same thing. It was opening night. So these are probably hardcore Saw fans who are happy to see this again. So it could have just been, that kind of laughter instead of, a bunch of future serial killers.
That's true. Hey, look, I was one of those hardcore Saw fans. I had, besides my tattoo, I had like purposely planets where I was wearing my t-shirt.
Yeah.
Everything. Like I was bedazzled out to go see this new Saw movie. So I get it.
I don't have a Saw shirt, but I did get a cool poster out of it. Um, what was the next trap after that? After
the one we don't see.
Oh yeah, the skinning alive.
Yeah, which I wonder because I know I told you before. I have a on this thing. So for those who don't know, this film almost got delayed by 6 months by the MPA because they had to submit it 11 times. They submitted 11 times to the MPA and kept getting the X rating. And if they had done it a 12th time and gotten it, they would have had to wait 6 months. By luck, on the 12th time they got the R rating, and Bousman wouldn't obviously was doing the press before the movie came out, so he wasn't spoiling anything. But he mentioned that there's a scene, and you'll see it, that we had so many issues with MPA with, and I wonder if this was the scene because when they do the quick cuts, holy fuck,
they're quick.
Yeah, but like what you see for a mainstream fucking thing in those quick cuts, I was like, Jesus, you see it's quick, but you still see it. You see a man getting skin ripped off him.
Well, I don't know if that was going to be a trap because it does end up being a decoy.
Oh, yeah, it is a decoy.
Yeah.
It's a moment I want to talk about because for like an R-rated mainstream American movie, that was a grisly fucking scene. I'm proud. I'm so happy that I got they were able to get away with it, but fuck, man.
I remember I saw it with my cousin and we were both like, fuck, that's a lot.
Before we get into the next, I forgot thinking about this as we're thinking about the Thailand movie. Did you laugh when Chris Rock wanted to question that dealer in his apartment? He had to rush in there. We only got 10 seconds. Let's go.
He put a fucking dye pack in there. That was great.
That scene was so good.
That was hilarious. I loved Chris Rock kind of channeling his New Jack City performance there as the crackhead. Which again, he name dropped New Jack City. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the vault that the vault makers that made the evidence room are, what was it, Jules and Vincent?
Oh yeah.
Cool shit. The whole crack dealer thing was funny as hell.
That was funny. That made me laugh. And actually, I think that was the next trap. Actually, was the molten wax thing, I believe.
Yeah.
Because remember, he gets that thing where he's like on the street, and the cop's like, "Yeah, I got cut," and then he remembers what the note said. He goes, "Fuck." And Angie, I think was her name. What the fuck her name was?
Yeah.
He's like, Angie, fuck, and he like rushes, and then that's the trap with the molten wax. Which I remember I heard when they were the killer is explaining everything, and they do a shot of her on like the neck, and he's like, if you just slam your head down, basically you'll just be paralyzed. There was an audible gasp in my theater, like an audible like, oh, like that trap hit everyone. Just the thought of like, could you sit there and slam your head back and risk getting paralyzed to get out of that? Like, oh,
dude, for me it was when Banks finds her and like takes the cloth off and her fucking face comes with it. Like, that was hard to stomach.
That was grisly. And even to seeing the rack strip on her, you're like,
that was wild. And then around that point, like Sam Jackson's been gone for most of the movie, which is never really explained. So is he just hanging up there for like the entirety of this investigation?
That's what I assumed.
That's insane. The wax is vicious. I wonder like what they're not allowed to do. Like, I wonder if there have been traps that have been proposed, but the studio or the MPA is like, absolutely not.
I have wondered that. Like, because I know like, I wonder if they've done like the Seth Rogen method sometimes with like the boys, where they present the most outlandish shit to the studio first, so the studio just goes no, and then they just find out what the line is. I wonder if they've ever done that with the traps in like the Saw franchise. Like, what can we propose that's truly outlandish until we finally hit the line that we're okay?
Probably any sexual stuff. I bet that's why there hasn't been anything involving,
There's
The
been no
dick.
dicks because of that.
No dicks, no vag. Just you can't go there, or else, X.
Immediately.
Yeah, makes sense. So after Angie is Pete, who isn't in the cast list on IMDb. So strange. I've never seen that before.
So we have one movie that has almost no background on it in profile, and then another one that just is missing a person from the cast.
Straight up. He's I double checked to make sure I had the right actor. Patrick McManus is his name, and he is listed in the he's not listed in the cast like anywhere, and I don't know why. That's a weird thing to do.
That's weird because it's not like he's the ultimate like reveal killer. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah, it's not a reveal. Like I don't know if he did something to like get his name taken off this or what.
Do you have any like allegations against him that we're not aware of?
I couldn't find anything. Granted, I didn't look for that.
So weird.
But even then, you don't just take you don't keep the guy in the movie and then just remove him from the cast.
Remove him from existence, minus his appearance in this movie.
That's the vibe I'm getting. Like, what happened here? It's not just IMDb; it's Wikipedia too.
That's so weird.
Yeah, very odd. And Letterboxd, and Rotten Tomatoes. This guy does not exist outside of the actual film.
Is this the Twilight Zone?
I don't fucking know, but he's a prick, and I kind of am glad of what happens to him. Yeah, he's an asshole. He deserved it.
Oh yeah, his trap was fucking gnarly.
That was brilliant. Just broken glass.
Yeah, dude. You know what that was reminiscent of to me?
Punisher Warzone.
No, but okay.
Oh, what do you?
I'm sticking in the universe of Saw.
Oh,
the Saw 3 trap where the guy's tied to the bottom of that tank and the fucking pig guts
are
getting sprayed onto him. Remember that one?
That is the worst trap ever for me. Like that's the worst one, just because of how fucking nasty it is. Ugh.
That was a nasty. I like how anything nasty is what grosses you out. Like
you can rip people open all day, but you spray them with rotten pig guts, I'm walking out.
Or put them into a tub of what looked like toxic chemicals in 80s New York. Friday the 13th, remember?
No.
Jason takes Manhattan. He sticks the guy into the fucking whatever the fuck that shit was.
Vaguely. I remember that vaguely, but
I remember you got really grossed out by it.
I'm gonna need to when I take that trip, we're gonna have to revisit some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
No, that really reminded me of that. But God, this one, I don't know which one would be. I think this one would be worse in pain, probably. Definitely pain.
I would 100% take the broken glass over the pig guts.
Really?
100%. Yes.
Yeah, because you know what? Drowning in pig guts does not sound fun.
Even if you make it out alive, that smell, that taste is never going away. Like, that's who you are now. You're the pig man. Broken glass, at least I'll probably die.
After a lot of what looks to be pain, not like pain, like some of the glass are showing going down. I was like, fuck, that does not look fun.
That's so simple though. Just broken glass fired at you high velocity. Like,
yeah. And then you see like Chris Rock's face, you see like little ones in his, and he has to pull that one out of his arm. And I was like, oh, but fucking awesome trap.
Kind of laughed when he's picking that one out of his arm. He's like, oh, and you just see Pete dead, full of broken glass behind him. And he's like, oh, ooh, that hurt. Made me laugh.
It's why I say sometimes the performance was questionable. There's moments, but overall, he does successfully stretch what we know him for.
It immediately reminded me of another Jigsaw in Punisher Warzone when Billy Rosati gets chucked in the broken glass bin and just dragged around for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I remember that. Yeah. Not the TV show where he was totally Jigsaw.
Yeah, when he just had, emotional scars.
Yeah.
Fuck
but
that.
He was so God, I actually did not mind the Netflix like Punisher show, but that pissed me off.
Yeah. Yeah, straight up. That's why I haven't watched it yet. I just was so upset at the way they handled that. I just know I'm not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, that part's not really my only negative to the season. Besides that, everything else about the season was really good. Obviously, especially John Berthel.
Oh, he's the man. He's the best guy to ever play the Punisher, and I really hope Marvel retains him.
Please keep him.
Yeah. Damn, that'd be awesome. So with that, we get a little homage to the original movie where Chris Rock is handcuffed.
Wait, could you imagine John Berthel as like the Jigsaw killer in this movie?
Yes, I can. That would be awesome.
I'm imagining right now in my head, and it's amazing.
Yeah, where he's just like one of the asshole cops, and then it's revealed that it was him the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, maybe like Hoffman was his old partner or something, and he taught him everything about it.
That would be amazing.
I wanted more connections to the OG. I get why they didn't, but I was hoping for more, somebody, so-and-so was my father, or so-and-so was, my college roommate or some shit. I don't know. I just like that shit.
My college roommate's friend's father. But yeah, no, what you were saying with the homage with Chris Rock, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Handcuffed to the pipe, saw in hand. And he was very quick to put that on his wrist. Like he was gonna.
Has no one learned from Detective Matthews? All you got to do is break a few bones.
Or cut through the rotten ass pipe.
No, because they are so quick to be like, clearly we need to saw something off.
I better be 100% out of options before I start cutting stuff off. Because I don't want to find out like, oh, I could have just done this. Oh boy. I love that he finds the bobby pin and is like, ugh, and unlocks it. Like, that's funny. But it also is, harkens back to Jigsaw leaving a easy option for people who, think twice about it.
Yeah, like if you just take a moment to stay calm and think and look, there is a much easier option that requires far less pain in your life.
Yes.
Most of the time. Sometimes there's still pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, getting a key out from your fucking eyeball. There's no way any of your options involve no pain.
He could have gone under. The stitches were still there. Just open those stitches and reach in.
Do you think that's going to feel great, though, when you reach into your fucking wound in your face?
Feels better than ripping your eye out. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
That'll heal. That won't. Your eye doesn't grow back most of the time. So Chris Rock wanders around this warehouse, always a warehouse. I'll never understand where Jigsaw and his people get this real estate. And he finds his dad strung up, bleeding out in jars. And that's when we learn that Jigsaw's like Jigsaw 2.0, or if you want to count the apprentices, Jigsaw 5, is Shank, the guy who died off screen. Now, I won't say I'm shocked, but I accepted it. I wasn't upset. I was just like, oh, okay.
It was, to me, if you're looking at the entirety of the series and the twist, right? Probably the most underwhelming one. But I blame a lot of that and I don't know, it seemed almost intentional on the movie perspective, which was we're really not trying to make this. Because again, if you notice, they didn't really play the music when you find out it was him. So it almost felt like they weren't really hinging on the twist as much. Because to me, you should know if you're making a Saw movie and it's like the 9th one in the series, you have to work on that twist. Because most people going in to see this are diehard Saw fans who know the formula, who know that, okay, there's going to be a twist. The movie doesn't hide from the fact that there's going to be a twist because the whole movie is who's the new Jigsaw killer, who's this copycat. It was an underwhelming twist in relation to the rest of this series. But I gotta give him credit that when he started explaining it, I still went, oh, okay, I get it. I quickly forgave it because the reason was actually really solid.
Yeah, Pete killed his father. Banks didn't give him up as a witness, so he's a good cop. So this guy then stumbled onto Jigsaw, learned everything about him, replicated his formula, got himself transferred to Banks to be his partner. It does get a little convoluted the more you think about it, but they all do.
Yeah. And I almost feel like the main twist wasn't necessarily like, who is this, but why was he doing this, was almost like more so the more concerned part about the twist that I felt like from the film was that that's what they were concerned with. Less who is it and more why are they doing this? And that the ultimate reveal is that this has really been like one big test for Chris Rock's character to join him.
Yeah, to be his apprentice.
Yeah.
The legacy does not stop. And he ultimately does decide to save his dad and he doesn't let the guy go. He jumps his ass. But that was all part of the plan because he does that. And that's when the music kicks in and SWAT arrives and like Sam Jackson's silhouette looks like a guy with a gun. So they just gun down the former chief of police without thinking.
Yeah, and then just let the guy go. I like how, like, in all fairness, they could have easily rushed to that elevator themselves, but they just watched the door close for him to just go shh and like shush him.
I wish he said game over.
Yeah, I was like,
you're gonna be Jigsaw. You gotta wear the pants. You gotta do this right.
You gotta say game over. You have to say, I want to play the game and game over.
Yeah.
And occasionally live or die, make your choice. I need those three things.
He said two of those we got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In a weird, Stephen Hawking voice. But, I'll take what I can get. The lighting in that room was pretty easy to know that is a man dangled on wires.
Yeah.
They were really quick to shoot him.
Yeah, and I wonder if that was probably the most with the political that was like the build up to the message on cops, and that I know that they're very quick to shoot first sometimes and not necessarily ask questions, and that being very, especially like a SWAT team. Usually when SWAT gets involved, they're not there to ask questions.
Yeah,
they're there to fucking potentially kill people. That's the purpose of SWAT. So it could be that, like, yeah, the lightning would tell you otherwise, that that's clear someone trapped, but also kind of took it as like tensions were high. You have one guy being a shit out of doing an elevator. They're having to fucking bust through a room, and yeah, no one was paying attention. Tensions were high. Things got very severely out of hand.
You could say that, yeah. I wonder if Banks is going to be charged with anything.
That I am curious on, because I mean, technically, there's nothing he did wrong at all. He saved his father. Technically, he did go after the actual culprit, and you can easily tell him that he's a cop. Like, he can easily prove that. But yeah, that's I'm sure stuff they're saving for the hopeful sequel that we get. So, like we said, please go out in theaters and see this damn movie so I get some answers.
Yeah, damn straight. Overall, I enjoyed it. I give it an 8. I don't think it's the best Saw movie. I don't think it's the worst. But it is, snugly in the middle, and I would watch it again. I'll add it to the marathon.
Yeah, I agree with your score. I agree with the 8. I think it's going to take a lot for any film in this franchise now to be as, for me to love as much as I do, like that first kind of like batch of like maybe 4 or that original run. But that has, like I was saying, so a lot of nostalgia involved in me being a teenager and experiencing my first real big horror franchise essentially in real time instead of going back to stuff.
Yeah.
But for having someone like Chris Rock, who was a fan that wanted to bring a new story and kind of change the style a little bit, but still keep that it very much Saw and continue a story and it not be a reboot.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. He did a really good job. There was a lot I liked about it, and there was enough for me to go, yeah, I would definitely see a sequel and where they go with this. It has my interest. I agree. I liked it quite a bit. I was really actually surprised by how much I ended up liking it.
Me too. I'm glad they gave us purists something. They threw us a bone.
Yeah. They gave us something, and at the same time enough to get maybe some new people in that might not have been there for that original one or something, because you really don't need as much of you don't really have to watch the prior ones more so with this one. This is probably the only film in the franchise you don't have to watch the prior ones to be completely like in line with what you're seeing.
True. And that's good, I guess, on some level for newcomers.
Yeah.
In the end credits, we get this 21 Savage song Spiral, which I didn't care for.
Yeah. It was okay. I didn't mind this. I kind of thought it was cool how he remixed the beat of like the original score with the song, but
yeah, I just thought that was kind of corny. Like, not once have I heard the Saw music and thought this needs a beat.
yeah, but I mean, this movie had a much more noticeable hip hop flair to it. I mean, almost all the music played was rap.
Yeah, it did.
It wasn't like in Saw 2 where they played Mudvayne in the credits.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you had a blast. We certainly did. Next week, we really only got one movie we want to talk about, and that's Netflix and Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. So don't miss next week where we talk zombies, Vegas, and the art of the heist movie. On Wednesday's Filmgazm, we're going to be digging into Zack Snyder's first zombie movie, the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead, also written by James Gunn, so we're going back to him. On Oscar Sunday, we're going back to the 50s for the superb courtroom drama Anatomy of a Murder. Going to be a good week. Hope you have one too, and keep watching movies.